gallon with center consoles only, and we're finally getting the opportunity to jump on the beautiful Bertram Yachts 39CC here in Tampa, Florida, with the beautiful Skyway Bridge as a backdrop. Let's jump on board, take this beauty through the paces, and bring you guys along for the ride. All right, so basically what I'm gonna do is identify things on the boat, show you what it is that I'm looking at, and you guys tell us what you think. So this one in particular has triple V10 Mercury Marine Verados, pushing it somewhere between 60 and 65 miles an hour, depending on the load. The other option is twin V12 600s if you would rather that on the transom. So the option is yours. You do have a starboard side entry door, plus a port side door, so you do have entry in both directions. This one in particular has twin live wells, 45 gallons apiece, with a retractable bench seat that makes it almost across the whole transom space. But for those of you that do a little bit more fishing, more live bait stuff, you can opt for twin 60-gallon live wells, which does offer an aquarium lid in the front, but it does eliminate this seat, so keep that in consideration. We do have a 13.3 beam on this boat, holds 486 gallons of fuel, 2 insulated and macerated fish boxes. And on my port side, you actually have a grill, so if you do have some lobster tails, some skirt steaks, there's no better spot than right here to be able to crank those things up. So over here in the port side, you have 3 tackle drawers. You can never have too much storage. You can actually probably put some of the utensils that you use for the grill, which are conveniently placed right underneath it. Underneath my feet, we have a fish box, which is insulated and macerated. You have that both port and starboard. And down the center, you have access to your bilge, access to your generator, access to your Seakeeper 3, which is standard on this boat. And then there's a piece that is removable in the back, which allows you access to get back to the custom sea chest that's underneath, that's actually integrated into the stringer grid and the bilge pumps behind that. Working our way forward to this mezzanine seat, what is nice about that 13.3 beam is how wide of a mezzanine seat you get. You can fit, 3 to 4 people here with no problem. You got a huge cooler underneath, which has chill plates. You don't even need ice. And on top of that, you have vertical rod storage on both sides, which is something I honestly have never seen back here, but I've always thought was a good idea from Bertram. You can store your rods down the center, which I personally like to do. I don't like to run the boat with rods on the cap, which are kind of just clanging and banging, so it's a cool spot to be able to rig your rods, do your business, and be able to get to work fishing. On top of that, behind the backrest, you do have a hidden tackle station, so you don't really see it when you're not using it, but when you pop that thing forward, it's nice to be able to access all your gear right from this area. Then we go into a glossy black piping, which really makes this boat look nice from the exterior. It's sturdy. You can tell it holds this oversized hardtop very well, which also hides a sunshade right here, which is conveniently tucked in that hardtop. And you deploy it when you want to just enjoy a day out in the sunlight without getting burned all day long. So as I work my way to the helm, I'm seeing a lot of Gemlux hardware. We got the cleats, rod holders, and I see a outrigger base up here. Also, I noticed we got the Release Marine XL chairs, which are wider than the traditional ones, and they each have individual armrests, which are adjustable. So a lot of space for the captain and 3 guests, which is nice. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, but one thing I always look at is if I can see clearly over the bow, and you can. They have a nice downward angle from the dash going forward, so when you jump up on plane, even if you have a little bit of bow rise, it will not impede your visibility. There is kind of a skylight I see there as well, which gives natural light into the cabin. We noticed that when we spent some time in there. Otherwise, this boat has 2 Garmin MFDs that are flush mounted into an acrylic backsplash, which gives it a really clean look. We have a FLIR control, our switch panel underneath, cup holders. We have our bow thruster, which is integrated into the joystick. We have our Mercury Binnacle Gemlux Bellica 13.5-inch wheel, some storage here off to the left, and some storage up top with the vessel view down the middle. I also wanted to mention that the batteries are stored under the leaning post here with your amps and battery charger. So it's a great empty space usually you can easily access if you got to troubleshoot anything right behind this helm space. Another nice detail is the entrance to the cabin space over to the port side, but tucked underneath this extra large hardtop. Doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's snowing, you still can access this thing without getting wet or just dealing with the elements at all, compared to having an entrance on the exterior, which could get difficult if the weather was to change on you. So as always, I like to get behind the helm and really feel what the boat's about. So I'm gonna run it a little bit, listen to what I'm hearing, feel what I feel, and just get a good gauge on the Bertram Yachts 39. So let's go ahead and put it through the paces and see what this bad boy can do.
All right, so finally got behind the wheel, and this is where you really get to understand what the boat can do. And obviously I'm only running the boat for a short period of time, so it's completely different, you know, running this thing 90 miles over to the Bahamas or something like that, where you really get to experience everything. But for the short time that I'm running it out of Tampa Bay, first thing I notice, it gets up on plane very quickly. The bow rise is minimal. I really don't lose the horizon at any point, so that's pretty positive. The thing wants to move. It'll do close to 65 miles an hour depending on the load, the weight, amount of people you have on the boat, fuel, etc. But a lot of power with the B10-400s, more than enough for this boat. Definitely does not need quads. The mile per gallon is actually quite impressive. We were seeing 0.9 at about 40 miles per hour. Now this is a big platform. I really don't know what the weight is offhand, but you got that 13.3 beam. It's over 39 feet in length. This is a sizable center console. Could be doing close to a mile per gallon with this setup as we have it. So I was impressed there, above average from what I was expecting. Otherwise, the boat has been solid. It's not a choppy, rough day, really. We have been trying to find some boat wake, creating my own boat wake to go over it, just to see if I hear any hollowness, any rattle. And honestly, it's been very good. I haven't heard anything rattle, and there's a lot going on this boat. So it's really built for, you know, offshore fishing. The versatility is there for the family. You have a sizable berth in there, a cabin space for whatever it is that you want to do. Plenty of seating throughout. So it really is a center console that you can do just about anything with. And we've seen the market going more towards that trend, just opening the doors to anybody and everybody. You don't need to like anything in specific to like the Bertram Yachts 39CC. And I think they really did a great job kind of checking off really every box a buyer could look for. So if you're in the market for something like this, I always tell people, sea trial it yourself. Don't go by what I'm telling you. Again, it's a short sea trial what I'm doing here. I have my likes, my dislikes. I'm basically showing you the boat in the most detail I possibly can to see if it's in your wheelhouse. If it is, reach out to Bertram Yachts directly, and I would recommend you experience this boat on your own.
First thing I notice when I walk into the cabin is the headroom. I believe it's 6 foot 4 inches of headroom here, so plenty. And I get asked all the time about boats in this size range, and center consoles offering this kind of space. So it is pretty impressive when you walk in here. You have a berth for 2 easily sleeping in this direction. Multiple kids if you lay them in this direction. There's horizontal rod storage underneath, as well as the freshwater tank in here. You do have storage, a microwave. So over in this area, you do have your breaker panel, which is nice, easy to access. It's at your eye level basically, so you don't have to dig underneath, you know, some hatch to be able to reach that. You have some storage above that, your sink underneath it, and a refrigerator underneath that. Now I'm just gonna walk into the private head and shower. You do have a door here, so if you need to handle your business, you can do it with other people in the room. You have your head, some natural light coming in here, a wood panel to be able to sit this down if you wanna change your clothes, change your shoes, take a shower, kind of freshen up. And this whole thing is air conditioned, so it's incredibly crisp and comfortable in this cabin space. I jumped up to the second station of the Bertram Yachts 39CC, and I personally love a second station option, especially on a center console of this size with this kind of beam and with that standard Seakeeper 3. You're not doing that pendulum movement, which could get annoying at this height, but Bertram did a great job. Very simple helm pod, glossy black. You have all the essentials. Your Garmin MFD to the left, your bow thruster control, joystick control, your binnacle, your trim tab control, and then your steering wheel in the center, which looks like it was recessed, so it's very low profile. Other than that, you got some storage underneath, matching gloss black piping all the way throughout, and a nice seat for 2. Even if you're not driving the boat, this is a great spot just to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Walking my way up to the bow, I'm noticing the space that I have here. It's a huge cabin, but you have plenty of room to be able to navigate your way up to the bow. Also, I'm noticing this grab rail. I don't see any screws anywhere, so it just looks like it's presented there. Super clean. You got your freshwater intake here, hatches both port and starboard for your fenders, dock lines, things of that nature. JL audio speakers everywhere, and a huge lounge right here. Can fit probably 3 to 4 people. You do have an armrest that comes down with cup holders and a cooler up in the front that could also be optioned out as a 40-gallon live well up here in the bow. Finishing up at the bow, the first thing that I noticed is that they actually cut into the cap to really maximize the beam up here. Usually this is wasted space, but as you can see, it feels like they take most of that 13.3 beam all the way up to this area, providing seating for multiple people. There's a removable dining table right here that can create kind of like an entertainment space on its own. There's a forward shade that's on this boat with the little contraptions there on the side as well. But with the speakers up here, the cup holders, the coolers, you really can just enjoy a day out in the water and really not even get yourself involved with what's going on in the back, whether they're fishing or just having their own conversation. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This was the Bertram Yachts 39cc. I hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough. I know we definitely have. We were looking forward to it for a long time, and we're incredibly pleased with everything we saw. So if you have any questions, reach out in the comments below. We'll do our best to answer them, or we'll pass your contact information over to the professionals at Bertram. Thank you very much. My name is Alan Blanco with Center Consoles Only, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.